What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning. So come by and say hello. All right. Well, this report came out a couple of days ago, and I hadn't had a chance to jump into it yet. But I do think it's important, and for anybody who is staking SPS, I want you to know you're pretty rich in the sense that the DAO actually has way more in it in terms of total value than I had expected. Again, I mean, way more is a relative term, but from what we had visibility to previously, which was just in the SPS.DAO account on Hive Engine, or on Hive, I should say, this is actually quite a bit more. So let's actually dive into it. A couple important things here. There are three wallets that hold. There are three wallets that hold all of the assets across four different platforms. So you have in-game, which again is its own platform, and Hive Engine. So both of those are layer 2s built on Hive on the Hive blockchain. Then you have a wallet on Ethereum and a wallet on the BNB Smart Chain, or formerly known as BSC or Binance Smart Chain. So they supply all of the addresses below and then go into some of the information here. Now, what's crazy is if you go and look, now this is, well, I shouldn't say it's crazy, but where you were looking at before, if you went to total SPS, you could see here that the SPS.DAO account currently owns about 60 million SPS, right? And I believe we found out that like 2 million of that is being staked. And in fact, actually, we can even go and see here. Let's see. So if we go to SPS.DAO, yeah, so roughly 2 million of that is being staked. I wonder if 2 million is enough to pop up on here. There it is. 2 million SPS being staked. So that is all that we have staked right now. There was a proposal or pre-proposal that turned into a real proposal that got turned down, which was going to essentially increase that by another 28 million so that you'd have 30 million staked, as well as 30 million not staked. So that is currently what is sitting on Hive Engine, or I'm sorry, the Hive blockchain overall. Now, let's see here. If we go back to the SPS.DAO, what they're saying is they actually have 126 million SPS tokens. And so that's actually double the amount, but keep in mind, only 60 million of that is on Hive. The rest of that is on other blockchains. And as you'll see here, it's probably going to be providing liquidity in some of the other chains or the LPs. So specifically on the SPS ETH as well as the SPS BNB. So overall, 3.5 million in SPS. Now, this is valued at an exchange rate of 2.8 cents, which is roughly where we're at now, although we are trending a little bit higher, so that is nice to see. USDC and USDT. Now, I'm not a fan of USDT. I guess I'm not a fan of USDC either. There's always going to be risk, but they are technically the two top stable coins. So, again, I'm not gonna be too crazy about that. But you got a little under 400,000 there. You got about a little over 100,000 in BUSD. So total, we have almost like 500 or half a million in cash, or stable coins, I should say. Then you have a little bit more than half a million in ETH, a little under half a million in BNB, and then about just under 50,000 in Hive. Now, what they're saying here is that the total non-SPS treasury holdings are about 1.5 million. So that's actually up significantly because we had no idea how much. So this is where all that, when I say we're rich and we have way more, it's because we didn't know how much was held within the DAO outside of that 60 million in the SPS. So obviously that 60 million SPS has now doubled in a sense because we have 126 million, but then we've also got several other things here equaling a total value of 1.5 million for the non-SPS treasury holdings. So what they say is that the DAO currently holds 13% of all SPS in circulation and roughly 26% of all liquid SPS. So I thought that was interesting and actually a very significantly high number. Now, hopefully we can get the DAO to soak up more, but I didn't realize that the DAO already had that much of the SPS. So they're saying additionally, the DAO holds roughly 1.5 million. Cool. We got that. The non-SPS funds represent the remaining amount from the initial SPS private sale back in July of 2020. 2021. So not much has been done with that, or it hasn't been sold for SPS or anything, but it is sitting there and it is available for us to use. Now, they do share the LP positions, and keep in mind, there's some overlap here, right? So if it shows ETH or SPS or BNB, not all of that might be in the LP positions. And as you'll see here, for example, on PancakeSwap, they only have 14 million SPS, and on Uniswap, which is the Ethereum LP, they only have 2.1 million SPS. And so this is an important note here. So please note that the DAO Treasury wallets are currently excluded from earning SPS rewards for their LP position. This, like anything else, can change if there's a governance proposal vote. And I know people have been talking about that, right? They wanted either the DAO to stake SPS to earn more or jump into the liquidity pools. Now, we already have some in the liquidity pools, but it is not taking away from our rewards if you choose to provide liquidity. So it's not draining that or soaking up a huge amount of that, especially for all of us smaller shrimp and plankton, right? So overall, what are my thoughts with this? Well, we have significantly more than I was expecting. In fact, we are at about 5 million USD with, about 10% of that sitting in stablecoins, right? You have USDC, USDT, and BUSD. So to me, 5 million, again, I know that the DAO is supposed to be providing rewards for the future, but I look at this and I'm just like, we can take a small piece of that. We can take a small piece of that and start using that in positive ways to add value for the community. Now, I do think that, there should be a conversation about should the DAO be providing more liquidity, and more importantly, should the DAO be getting the rewards? Now, if you've had Foyer on here, or if you've heard Foyer, because I've had him on here, or if you've heard him elsewhere, one of the things that he's talked about or we've talked about is the LPs. And so I want to give him a shout out on this because he keeps saying that the team really should be the one providing the liquidity, because then there's less gamification. And I know like GameFi, DeFi, whatever you want to call it, is part of the appeal here. And so I wouldn't necessarily want the team to provide liquidity, but at the same time, what we can do to kind of split the difference is have the DAO provide that liquidity as kind of like this neutral third party that will always have like the interests of the game ahead of it, but will not be subject to, whales or third persons like myself, right? Where obviously it's every man for themselves, right? So we're always going to do what's best for ourselves. Whereas the DAO, if we vote collectively, should always be doing what is best for the game, right? So that's what I'm trying to get at here. The team would be able to do that, but instead of having the team provide the liquidity, we can have the DAO do it. And the alternative or the additional benefits, I should say, to providing that liquidity from this kind of neutral party is the fact that the DAO will also then be able to feed itself with the capital there. Now, what is the detriment for the rest of us? What is the con? Well, those juicy APRs will start to go down significantly, right? Because there's not much in there's not much overall. If we go and check the pools, now you can see in the ETH pool, there's roughly just under 1 million. In the SPS BNB, there's roughly under 1 million too. So if we were to add significantly more, because as of now, well, actually, we wouldn't even need to add any if you think about it, because if we were just to vote on the SPS overall, sorry, not the SPS, but the liquidity pool providers from the DAO wallets being given rewards, I mean, there's another 1 million right there, right? I guess it's less than 1 million and only 100,000 on ETH. So maybe it's not going to change too much. But if we wanted to provide more liquidity, which I do believe that we should, or at least consider, that is something that would bring down those APRs. Now, final thought on this is how do we set this up in a way that will be able to, the game will be able to sustain itself. Now that we know where everything is and we know what the proper, this is what I'm going to get to. We know what the allocation is, but what should a proper allocation be? This is a question that I'm specifically asking you guys because I'm curious to know. Right now it's roughly 10% stables and then 90% crypto, which again, I'm not saying is wrong or right, but there are different scenarios in which we will probably find ourselves in the future. And especially if crypto goes on a specific, on a kind of like bear market rally, significant bear market rally in 2023, which we've already seen, right? Bitcoin's up like almost 50% on the year. Then, that allocation is going to change dramatically. we will start to see a higher percentage allocated to crypto. And the question then becomes, well, in a bull market or in an uptrend, what should the allocation between crypto and stables be? And in a down market, what should the allocation between crypto and stables be? But then more specifically, even within crypto, should we be holding other tokens that are not just SPS, Ethereum, BNB, Hive, and then some stable coins? Should we look into maybe holding something like a Bitcoin? Should we look into other chains or other coins potentially? Now, I'm not as big on the other coins. Bitcoin is probably the main one, and I know that I've seen that talked about in many places. But again, just starting the conversation here now that we know what the overall allocation is like. Obviously, Ethereum is almost as blue chip as something like Bitcoin. In fact, I would say it is as blue chip as Bitcoin. So to a certain extent, you have that there. BNB is up there too. But again, just trying to figure out where the community would be at in terms of what kind of allocation we should see, because as the market will move over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, right? Whether we go into a deep recession, whether we go into a full bull market or a bull run, or a little bit of both, right? I mean, this is a long period of time, and crypto can feel very long and very short. Things can be over quickly or they can drag on forever. But the point is, I think that we should find a way to have that allocation set so that we can be somewhat disciplined in our investment approach, because at the end of the day, the DAO is all of our investment in the game, right? This is what we are hoping will help to sustain the game in the long run. And so feeding it is important, but also learning how to best manage the assets within there, and then obviously distribute them potentially in the future, or actually not even in the future, but even now, would be great. So that is all I have in this video. Just wanted to share some thoughts with you, but I think that this is great. I'm so happy to see the transparency given from the team. Not that they were not being transparent before, but this is all brand new, guys. Like, being able to give this to the community, where now we can also not just see it, but we can make suggestions on it, and we can get a community vote, and we have enough voting power to override the team sometimes, or a lot of the larger whales. I think is a huge first step. We're on the cutting edge of this GameFi, whatever you want to call it, right? GameFi, play to earn space, whatever it is, this Web3 gaming. It's fun, it's cool, and it's really exciting. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.